Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor with Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Back at you with another one with my boys Vlad, Barry, and back on the show. Thankfully, we got Patriots insider at NBC Sports Boston, host on Patriots Talk Podcast, Quick Slants, you name it, the hardest working guy in show business, Tom E. Curran. Thanks for coming back, man. How you doing?
What's up, boys? Thanks so much for having me. How you been?
Been good.
Been great, man. Doing great. Living the dream.
Barry, you weren't on when John was telling me that he was just dunking on kids' heads at the playground on Saturday on a 9-foot rim.
Oh, really?
Me a little bit.
John was catching bodies?
Yep.
Oh, man.
That's right. On the top,
Oh, yeah, right there on his head. You would do that Jaylen Brown like Jaylen Brown dunked on Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, that was big.
Yeah. That was nice. That's what you were doing to kids on the playground the other day, huh, John?
That was payback for the one that he put on Cornette earlier in the game.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Saturday,
Very true.
Holding it down for the guys, for the the mid-30s guys. Tom, I think we got some people around here that are coming down from a certain type of fever. After last week, man, and today, November 1st, NFL trade deadline, it was today. It's now over, and the Patriots stayed put and didn't trade any of the receivers like people have been mentioned for a while. Talk to us a little bit about that. Why you think the Patriots didn't make any moves?
John, I think they're still trying to figure out who they are. They're a 4-4 team. They've reconfigured everything. I think that they're confident in what they have in Mac Jones, but still it's been a year of regression for him, and he needs to declare who he is. So when you get a team like Miami making the move that it does, they feel like they have good momentum and that they can add a Bradley Chubb and make the difference that they think he's going to do. Nyheim Hines is a cog for a Buffalo Bills team that probably doesn't need anybody else. But what are the Patriots? They're 4-4. They're 21-21 since 2019. I really believe this year is kind of a rebuild year, a reset year, as much as people want to resist that idea, to figure out what they want to be going forward. That's why the change of the offense, the transition with the coaching staff, the second year of Mac Jones, you got expiring contracts at the end of this year and a lot of money opening up. I'm not surprised they didn't make a move, because I don't think that this year is really promising in terms of where they're going to end up.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the only move they made, was this situation with Mac Jones, the last week. And, evidently they're back to Mac Jones now. Throughout the week, you heard why Bailey Zappe was, being successful and why he looked like he did. With the change of the offense. Is that something that you're seeing, and why was that happening?
I think it's a variety of reasons. One, it's a byproduct of the opponent and playing from ahead. I think the defense just beat the hell out of Detroit, performed really well against the Green Bay team that we've seen now. That's the game Zappe comes in. And the defense is able to keep Rodgers down, and the Patriots were able to put together an offensive plan for Zappe that was run-based, and they profited from that. And they did that against the Lions, and they did that against the Browns too. The quarterbacks were complicit. Jared Goff and Jacoby Brissett both kept the Patriots in the game or helped to build the lead, and Ramondre Stevenson was outstanding. But that's not to discredit what Zappe did. And I think the Patriots learned a lot. What I find interesting is with Mac Jones, I think they bit off more than they could chew. We're going to change the offense. We're going to have you run this wide zone stuff, And then if you see anything downfield, we're going to just have, 5 guys back. We're not going to give you max protection like we did for Zappe. And we're going to ask you to take shots. So on one hand, they're cuffing them with all a transitional offense. And on the other hand, they're asking him to take shots and try and be a more dynamic player. And it just didn't work. So it put him in a bad position. I think the weeks with Bailey Zappe, tell me if you agree with me or not, Barry and Vlad. I think the Patriots probably got an opportunity to see, okay, we maybe asked a little too much of him. We do need to find out more. We're confident he's pretty good, but he has regressed. But let's make it simpler for him and meet him halfway, because he was frustrated.
I mean, I agree. He was definitely frustrated. But I just don't think they put him in the best position, especially after the injury, especially with the play selection. And just like you said, the way the offense is functioning when he's in the field, I mean, it's at a disservice to him. It's not helping him the way they help him Billy Zappe.
Are you guys cured? I mean, I don't know how rampant Zappe fever ran on this pod. but Barry, are you cured? You never came down with it.
I'll admit I had some of the Zappe fever. It's gone away a little bit to this point, but I was definitely a Zappe fever guy, and certainly like what I saw from him. But I feel like it was kind of messed up, and they kind of did Mac Jones dirty. You know what I'm saying? As far as like running a completely different offense when he was on the field as opposed to Billy Zappe, and it was kind of like what you guys were saying, they put Billy Zappe in positions to succeed and ran an offense that was more of a compliment to him and something that he would be able to be able to do and be able to accomplish and have a good chance to succeed in. And really Mac Jones, not so much. That's how I kind of see it and feel as though this coaching staff, particularly the coaches who are calling the plays and running the offense, I feel like I don't know why there was some sort of difference as far as calling with the two quarterbacks who were pretty similar, but it seems favoring Zappe over Mac Jones.
I just think they bit off more than they could chew. They put more on Mac's plate. They said, you know what, you're smart. We're going to go empty. We're going to go, no Max protect like we're going to with Zappe. And John, they just said, you know what, Mac, you're capable of doing this. And with Zappe, they're like, oh, nope, back in the straitjacket. We're going to run the simple stuff. And I think they kind of, John, bit off more than they could chew.
Do you think if Josh McDaniels was still here, that would have happened?
No way.
Yeah.
No friggin' way.
And I think that's the issue here. The issue is, although they were trying to go to a different offense, I just think Josh McDaniels would have just made the transition a lot easier on Mac Jones and just give him the weapons he needed or the protection he needed to function. And when you bring two guys that are not offensive coordinators, that's what happens. I mean, you just try things that you're not even sure about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, I never caught the fever. I never caught COVID, so I didn't catch the Zappe stuff either.
Not even a little bit.
This guy's got such a strong immune system.
Oh, not at all. And I was saying this, because I mean, based off of the defense that he was playing, and Ramondre Stevenson was running for like 160 yards. I think the Lions game, we stopped them on fourth down 6 times, and I'm like, dude, you guys not paying attention to what's happening. I get that he's doing what they're asking him to do, and they're not asking him to do much. And the other quarterbacks were not helping their teams either. But that's not to take anything away from him. I think he came in and did what they asked him to do. And, with the defense being complimentary to him, he did what he had to do, and it was good for us. But now, we're 4-4 now, going against the Colts, and with the Bengals lost last night, we're looking like we're back in the playoff picture again, right? We've had a lot of people come in here telling us that, they don't think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs. You think they can, do something here moving forward?
I mean, I was one of those guys. I said it's an 8-9 team, and I still am not convinced that it's not an 8-9 team. But facts are facts. They are 3-4 in their last 4 games. They could very well and should very well be 4-4. Excuse me, 4-0. I'm saying 3-4. They've won 3 of their past 4 games. They should have won all 4. There's no excuse for losing to the Chicago Bears in the way they did. It's embarrassing, and that's their Achilles heel. I think we all can agree. I don't want to see them play Kyler Murray right now because I don't think that they can handle a guy who's a dual threat. If Sam Ellinger might be able to run around a little bit, but he's not a dual threat. He's not going to rip off 40 yards on you, and I don't think that they are exceedingly good with that. I mean, Josh Allen might leave cleat marks all over the entire defense's sternum in 3 weeks. But the upshot is they're 4-4. They've negotiated a really tumultuous part of their season with what they wanted to do offensively. They have an edge rusher. They have a running back. They have a very good secondary. They have good safeties. I'm not high on the coaching staff. I don't know how you can be, but they still have the best coach who's done it at the head of it. The offensive line is a little more suspect than I'd hope. But overall, it's an average team. They're in the same bucket with, 25 other teams. There's 3 teams that really suck: Jacksonville, Houston, and another crappy one. And there's 3 teams that are really good: the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Bills.
Right.
And the other 26, you can throw a blanket over them.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
That's true.
I mean, I think, we're going to win the game this weekend. I don't see how we're going to lose to those guys. They just fired their offensive coordinator. And now that, they got the backup coming in as well. I think you tweeted that there won't be a Brady in Foxborough, this weekend. But, Bill Belichick actually just went past Coach Hallis, on the winningest coaches tier.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Talk about Bill and his accomplishment and how good of a coach he has been, because I think that's lost on some people, since Tom Brady left.
Yeah, when you think about it, guys, I mean, we're sitting here talking about, well, the Patriots are 21-21, and they've set up their coaching staff in kind of a head-scratching way. It's 21-21 since Brady left. And, will they win another playoff game? Never mind another Super Bowl. Will they win another playoff game before Bill Belichick breaks that record? But as we have that conversation, they lost the best player of all time. They lost what I think is a Hall of Fame wide receiver based upon what Julian Edelman did in the postseason. Whether you think he is or not, that's okay. They lost a Hall of Fame tight end. All those guys have gone out over the last few years. They lost a Pro Bowl level guy in Dante Hightower, but they're still 21-21. Bottoming out for this team was going 7-9 with Cam Newton, a guy who was completely different from anything they had ever done before, and a guy who really can't throw overhand anymore. That's about as bad as it gets. That kind of shows you how good a coach he is. Somebody else would go 3-13. He's brilliant. I couldn't be more fortunate to have covered this guy for this period of time. You think about people who got to cover Lombardi's Packers or Bill Walsh from the Niners or Don Shula or anybody else. For 22 straight years, I got to cover Bill Belichick, 9 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowl wins, however many ridiculous numbers of AFC championships they went to. And it is about him. I think Ted Johnson was offended the other day when Matt Judon said it's Bill deserves the credit. And Ted's like, yeah, it's the players. It is the players. But why is Matt Judon here? Why is Jacoby Myers, an undrafted free agent, doing what he's doing? Yeah, he screwed up N'Keal Harry and he messed up on however many cornerbacks. But he also unearthed J.C. Jackson and Asante Samuel and figured out a way to get Darrelle Revis here and stole Akeem Talib. And those are good players, Malcolm Butler. So couldn't be more fortunate to cover him. I know you guys are all in a position as fans to say, I was a Patriots fan in the 2000s. I mean, you guys are younger than me. You'll be sitting there in 2050 and going, what's the Patriots in the early 2000s? I mean, I know what it looks like when a team's really dominant. So I'm lucky, and the guy's been tremendous to cover.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that right there. I'm going to stay on the coaches, a little bit, with coaching staff, and especially on the offensive end. I personally don't see how we're going to keep, the offensive coordinator we have. Could next year come and we still in this same situation?
It's funny, we get those, and I bet you guys could use some of that stuff if you actually, maybe you couldn't, maybe you could, I don't know. But we get those conference calls, right? And we had Matt Patricia on them today, and we had Joe Judge. Judge was really good talking about some of the things that that Mac Jones did on Sunday that were kind of sneaky good. But I wanted to ask Patricia, if he foresaw himself as an offensive coordinator, play caller going forward in his career. Because I think that's important. I mean, I think he's made progress.
Yeah.
I think he's a smart guy. I think he's improving. It's not the disgrace that I thought it might be. It's not great. I mean, he started nine possessions. Their first 9 possessions ended inside the Jets' 50, and they had 1 touchdown. That ain't great, but I wonder if they would stick with that going into next year. Or do you go get some genius if there is one out there?
I think I think there's no way they move on to a new offensive coordinator. I feel as though Bill want those guys to succeed and then start a new offense, and I feel as though there's no way he brings in a genius. If he was to bring in a genius, he would have done it this year when he needed a new offensive coordinator. I think for continuity's sake, I think he's gonna stick with those guys, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what that ends up like. I mean, today on trade deadline, the Bills were pretty good, so they didn't need anybody. But the Jets got a running back, the Dolphins got an edge rusher, and we sat and we didn't do anything. And I don't see how we make the playoffs. And yeah, I'm not sure what it's looking like for the Patriots, to be honest.
I mean, is this their year, or are the Jets, not the Jets, are the Dolphins and the Bills realistically starting from a position that the Patriots were not at the beginning of the year? I believe that to be the case. I mean, they had beaten the Patriots 3 or 4 of the previous meetings. Miami beat them again this year. They're just a better team than the Patriots. They have higher aspirations. Not long-term, but realistically speaking, I don't blame the Patriots for just sitting there letting the world pass them by today, given who I believe they are in 2022. Yeah. Maybe I'm soft.
No, I agree with you. I don't see a successful season. There's nobody that I think we could add that would make the season a successful season,
right?
Or more than it was already gonna be. So it's just strange to see the Patriots in 4th place and the Jets are in 2nd place. That's just I don't know. In my short Patriots life, I've never seen that before.
It's jarring.
Yeah.
Damn, guys. So y'all just making me realize, are we really the worst team in the AFC East in the division right now? Like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on?
That's high offense.
So we're living in a world in a day and age where the Patriots are, at record-wise, as of right now as we speak on this podcast, the worst team in their own division after being so dominant for the last 20+ years. We're finally at a point where the 3 teams have surpassed us. I don't know about the Jets yet, but at least definitely the Bills and the Dolphins have surpassed us. That
you know what Barry sounds like right now? Barry sounds like the guy who just gets up after an absolute bender happened at his house. He walks down to the living room and starts looking at the cans and a broken blood. He goes, "Party's over. What happened here? What happened here?
Pretty much.
What happened out here last night?" So, yeah, I mean, it is. It's jarring. But on the bright side, they were one game worse before Sunday.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
also,
still think they're better than the Jets.
well, I think after this weekend, the Jets play the Bills, right? So
Right.
if we lose, we have the same record, and we have that tiebreaker right now. So we
Can't get any worse the week after.
move up, right?
Can't get any worse on the bye.
You know, so I think some things can be done here. You know, where we're not sitting at last place, but it is really strange to look at. You know, at the sitting last, and you know, Miami is retooling, and I don't know. It looks like they're going all in on Tua.
I mean, he's good. I mean, that game, again, it's the Lions, but John, and I know he's throwing a Tyreek Hill, and I know the week before when they were in prime time, I'm watching the game, and I'm like, these throws suck. Like, he was throwing it behind guys, over guys, under guys, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, well, this is the great thing about Tua is anticipation and accuracy. I'm like, he can't throw it in stride. But then he has a performance like he did against the Lions, and you're like, well, more than good enough. More than good enough.
Yeah, but he's inconsistent. I'm not sold on Tua. I really don't think he's that good, and I think that's the thing, you know, that will keep the Patriots from having a chance, at least in this division, from being second place, is that I don't like Tua and I don't like Zach Wilson. I'm not really high on either one of those guys, and I don't think they're really, in my opinion, that good, honestly, especially Zach Wilson after what we saw on Sunday. But
let me ask this. We did this Sunday night.
Sure.
We did this Sunday night and into Monday on our shows. And I want to hear you. I hope you don't mind me just asking the questions, but I bet, you know, all the people who listen, and you guys too, would like to get it out there. Including Davis Mills. So you got Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and Davis Mills. All six of them. Throw Tua in there for the hell of it, too, just for fun. Where would you take Mac Jones to start your team if you were picking right now? Because I think I'd still take him. I hate to say it. Maybe I'm an absolute sap. I think I'd take him over Trevor Lawrence. I know I'd take him over Zach Wilson. I know I'd take him over Trey Lance. Probably take him over Davis Mills. Justin Fields is the only guy who'd make me second guess just because of some of the plays. I think I'd take him over Tua. That's it. I think I'd still take Zach 1 or 2. Excuse me, Mac.
Yeah.
How about you?
Given his body of work, I think given his body of work and looking at what the other guys are doing, you know, and I think that's what makes me feel a little better about Mac. You know, these other guys that got drafted in this same class are not doing any better. You know, I think, you know, out of all those guys, he's still, you know, I mean, he struggled this season, you know, but he had a great rookie season, and I think he's a very capable quarterback. And I think, you know, we got to factor in all the changes around him, you know, that's happened. And I mean, he doesn't exactly have the best receivers on the planet either. So, and he's offensive line, you know, guys getting killed.
Other than that, it's great.
You know, so, you know, there's a lot of things that are out of his control. And I think he's still making the best of it when, you know, we give him what we need to give him.
I'm starting to drop out on Trevor Lawrence, Barry, and Vlad. I mean, it's a
Well,
year and a
why
half.
is that? Well,
We
I
thought
think
Doug Peterson was going to pick him, right? Wasn't that
you don't think he's playing better this year, Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, he has, but for like this generational this and never seen it before that, he makes some really cement-headed friggin' plays.
Yeah.
I haven't watched him much, but I know that he's been a lot better this year. But I also know that he didn't have a good coaching staff last year. So I don't know. I think the judgment is still early on him, I would say.
Vlad, I called him Brock Osweiler 2.0 the other day.
Oh, no way.
That guy was being compared to Andrew Luck. You know, he came in the draft, you know, and it's not that, you know. Andrew Luck was getting killed out there, and he was still making plays, man.
He was good.
It was very apparent that Andrew Luck was really good.
If Andrew Luck was in the draft right now,
He'll
he'd
be
still go
first.
number one. If he came back at whatever the hell he is, 29, 30, he must be 32 now. If he went in the draft, said, I'm coming back, he'd go number one.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. No doubt about it.
Hey, Tom. What's up with your boy Tom out in Tampa?
I know. Well, I mean, the personal stuff, I really feel badly for him, as we all do, I think. You know, you develop a professional relationship with guys. You know him for a long time. You're talking to him when his kids are born and sharing stories in the locker room back and forth and developing that relationship. So my heart goes out to him, goes out to her, goes out to his family, who I've gotten to know, who are, you know, obviously broken up about it. It's just tough to watch. And it really explains when we look at him, and I, you know, jokingly said he looks like he's turning into Willem Dafoe there a couple weeks ago, getting all skinny.
Yeah.
Really explains, you know, don't make fun of the guy. He's probably not even eating because he's so upset.
Yeah.
But as a player, it's tough to watch because he's so frustrated, and there's so many times we've seen him frustrated and you're like, well, they're going to flip it. I wonder if they're going to be able to flip it this year, because their effort seems to suck down there. And once the effort goes, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm like, he's throwing for 300 yards, no interception or one touchdown or something, but no results to those offensive production, you know, like no touchdowns.
It just seems so joyless, you know?
Yeah.
Defense.
Yeah, lifeless. Right, for real.
You know, his defense gave up, over 200 yards in the second half?
Yeah, Warren Sapp had something up today, John. He highlighted, check out, just Google or Twitter search Warren Sapp, Devin White, and look at some of the survey.
Saw that.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, he's not wrong.
I would take off that C off your chest, right? You know?
Yep. And he wasn't wrong. He was just trotting after the play.
Yeah. You know, I think
that's crazy. Because I like Devin White. I think he's a good player, but yeah, I think I remember the play you guys are talking about. Yeah, that's a horrific and god-awful look. That's really bad.
I think that's where you appreciate a coach like Bill Belichick, you know, because it seems like those guys were on a high with the Super Bowl, and it's like these guys are not focused anymore. And, you know, you never really saw that happen here, no matter how much we were winning. You know, guys were coming in prepared. You know, we lose games here and there, of course, but, you know, for the most part, you know, you saw a team that was prepared and disciplined, you know, majority of the time.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, and you could, if you're Bill, you run that back 25 times in a team meeting and don't say a word. I don't know if Todd Bowles gets away with that. You know, there's only, you know, what Bill would say to Jamie Collins, who a few years ago, he traded him 6 years ago on this day. And people were dumbstruck. But Jamie's effort and performance in that year was so bad. You know, could a Todd Bowles get away with it? I remember, and I got to jump in a second here, but I remember in 1999, Pete Carroll was the head coach, and the Patriots released Willie Clay during training camp. I remember him as a safety, a really good player. And William Malloy says, this guy's coaching for his job, and they're out here releasing Willie Clay. I mean, no one would think to say that. And that's about Pete Carroll, but no one would think to say that about Bill. It's really hard to get to that point as a head coach where you can call out that best player and win. And it's very, very hard to do that. And I don't know how many coaches in the NFL can do that right now. But Bill, even though the team's 4-4 and 21-21, as I said, if he needed to, he could do it. He's also got Dev to do it, or Matt Slater to do it. But they hire smart. They hire smart guys. And that's why they get the results I think they do.
Barry, you want to go ahead in here?
Yeah, Tom, so I wanted to ask you, and I know there's been a lot of, you know, debate, you know what I'm saying, about this, and kind of just wanted to get your take on this question. Who do you think's more responsible for the Patriots dynasty? Is it Bill, Is it, Tom Brady? What are your thoughts and what's your take on that?
I have a very specific take on this. 2000 to 2009, that's all Bill. He built it. He created it. He fostered it. He taught Brady everything he needed to know. And then from 2010, when Tom Brady was the unanimous MVP, through 2019, that was Tom. He carried him. He carried him back from 28-3. He carried him when he was taking a pummeling in Denver in that 2015 playoff game. He helped carry him in 2011 to that Super Bowl they had no business getting to. So my feeling is 2000 to 2009 is all Bill. 2010 to 2019 is all Tom. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
The slice of the pie was bigger. So that's my feeling.
Even 2018 Super Bowl?
Yeah, what about that one?
Give that to Josh. No, I mean, honestly, give that 2018 Super Bowl. Think that one. That team lost. It's 5. They went 11-5. Every one of its regular season losses was to a team that didn't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to the Jaguars. They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Tennessee Titans. They lost to the Dolphins. Every one of those losses to a team that didn't make the playoffs. So somebody had to put that team on its back, and I think it was Brady in that year.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, it's always a pleasure talking to you, watching you, doing your thing. I'm always on your podcast, listening in with you and Phil Perry, Matt Castle, on a weekly basis, man. So we're really grateful for you to come back on here, man. And, we're always welcome to come on Pro Fan Sports Podcast. And you're welcome anytime. You're a great guy to talk to, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate Pro Fans. You guys do great work. You're very knowledgeable, passionate, and always appreciate you guys, reaching out to any of us. So thanks again.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom, so much for coming back on. Appreciate it.
All right. See you, Barry. I'm glad we made it happen.
Enjoy the game tonight.
Absolutely.
See you guys.
Enjoy hoop tonight.
Yeah.
Got to go drill some jumpers. See you.
All right.
See you. Thank you, Tom. Have a good night.
See you guys. Have a great night.
Yes, sir. That was Tom E. Curran. Make sure you guys are following Tom E. Curran, man. He's been in this thing since 1997. So that's at Tom E. Curran on Twitter. Just Google it, guys. The guy is everywhere around here. So thanks again, Tom, for coming on, and you're welcome anytime. Make sure you guys are following us as well. We're at Pro Fan Sports on everything except for Instagram, and that's at ProFans_sports. We're dropping content on a daily basis. Our podcast drops every single week. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. It's the best way you can support us. And of course, thank you for supporting us always. And until next episode, y'all, we out of here.
Have a good week, everyone. See y'all next week. Thanks for watching.